In a quiet Fresno courtroom, a corrupt cop chuckled until a woman he underestimated pulled out a DA badge and shattered every illusion he had of safety. The room wasn't full. It didn't need to be. The people who mattered were already there. Judge Arlo Kendrick sat behind the bench, his pen tapping in a steady rhythm, more nervous tick than habit. The bailiff stifled a yawn, and off to the left, Detective Kyle Renshaw lounged in his chair like he owned the place. His gray pinstripe suit was sharp, his tie loose, his smirk permanent. He looked untouchable. Then she walked in, a quiet woman with honey-brown skin, hair pulled into curls, no earrings, no makeup, just an olive jacket over a gray blouse and plain slacks. Calm eyes, scanning the room. Mariah Tillman, the clerk called. Please take the stand. She walked without hesitation, no anxious glances, no performance. Just purpose. Some in the gallery looked at her sideways. Who was she? Looked like someone's aunt. Probably just a neighborhood resident. The defense attorney stood, casually flipping through notes. Renshaw leaned over and muttered, "Straight off the block, huh?" Laughter followed. Mariah heard it. She didn't flinch. She folded her hands and waited. The judge arched a brow, but let it go. The defense attorney began. "Miss Tillman, do you have any relationship to the defendant or parties involved?" "No personal relationship," she said evenly, "but I know of him." "Can you describe what you witnessed on April 3rd at Shields and Maple?" "I was there on assignment. I saw Detective Renshaw stop two minors outside a liquor store. One had a backpack. He searched it without cause, took some cash, then let them go." The defense scoffed. "You saw this cash exchange?" "Yes," she said. "I recorded it." Renshaw's smirk faltered, just a flicker. Mariah noticed. "So did the judge. You said you were on assignment, Miss Tillman," the judge asked. "What kind?" Mariah calmly reached into her jacket, pulled out a leather case, and flipped it open. "Special Agent Mariah Tillman, United States Drug Enforcement Administration." The air shifted. Not silence, something sharper, like the room cracked open. Renshaw's arm slid from his chair. His face paled. That trademark smirk was gone. He looked like he'd been slapped and couldn't figure out by whom. Mariah continued, voice steady. "For the last 8 months, I've been undercover in Roosevelt Heights, investigating a drug operation protected by members of the Fresno PD. Until now, my assignment was classified." She toned, not to the judge, but to Renshaw. "You were one of my primary subjects." The room buzzed. The judge raised a hand. "Silence, or I'll clear the court." Mariah never broke eye contact. "You remember me, don't you?" she said quietly. "I'm the woman you stopped, twice, for no reason. The one whose home your partner raided by mistake. The one who saw you take cash, drugs, and make side deals with street dealers like it was routine." The defense attorney was frozen. The prosecutor leaned back in his chair, a slow smile spreading. He didn't need to say a word. Mariah had just done what 10 months of internal reports couldn't. Renshaw opened his mouth. Nothing came out. But to understand how they got here, you have to go back. 8 months earlier. The Fresno heat was punishing, but Mariah Tillman wasn't focused on the sweat crawling down her back. She sat in a park sedan outside a rundown corner store on Broly Avenue, her eyes fixed on the manila folder beside her. Kyle Renshaw, decorated detective, commendations galore. But complaints disappeared, footage was lost, and the timing of certain arrests felt too perfect. Mariah's supervisor had been blunt. "We had eyes on Renshaw for nearly 2 years. He's not just dirty, he's a leak. Tips off dealers, plants evidence, protects runners. Every time we close in, the case crumbles." "And you want me to live in it," Mariah said. "Exactly," her supervisor replied. "No badge, no backup. We need him to forget you're a cop." She checked the rearview mirror. The wig helped. Loose curls, a bit frizzy. No makeup. Oversized tank top, faded jeans. She looked like someone society ignored. The DEA gave her full backstory. A new name. Fake rent receipts. Utility bills. Even a teenage cousin who'd supposedly moved in. She became Raina Lawson, 38, an ex-bartender laid off during the pandemic, now living in a duplex near the drug zone. And just like that, Mariah Tillman vanished. For 8 months, Raina showed up. She unpacked groceries, nodded to neighbors, laughed too hard at bad jokes, walked the block at night and filmed what she saw. A dealer in a red Impala passing pills to a teen. A 15-year-old being frisked without cause. Corner stores being used as fronts. But one name came up more than any other. Renshaw. People whispered it like a curse. "He comes when he wants," said a woman by the laundromat. "Takes what he wants too," added the kid bagging groceries. "Man don't got no soul." She first saw him 2 months in. Black SUV, dark sunglasses, cigarette hanging from his mouth. He slapped the roof of a car, leaned in, laughed, and took something from a known dealer. Mariah caught it all from her purse cam. She logged the footage at night, attached it to her encrypted report. Still, he kept skating. Confident, protected, feared. She kept her distance until he noticed her. It happened in week 4. She was walking home with a roll of paper towels when Renshaw's SUV jumped the curb. He stepped out, no badge in sight. He didn't need it. His presence cleared the sidewalk. "Hey," he said, "you were the paper towels." She turned slowly. "Haven't seen you before," he said. "You knew. Move in a month ago. Down on Pratt. You with someone. Just me and my cousin. You on Section 8. Maybe. Cute," he said. She stayed blank-faced. "Something I can help you with, officer." His smile slipped. "Nah, just getting a feel for the neighborhood." He stepped in close. Way too close. "You see anything funny?" he said. "You come to me, not the others. They don't handle things right." He tapped the paper towel roll. "Got to keep clean, right?" Then he walked off. Mariah went home, locked her door, and uploaded the footage. Subject made contact with undercover agent. No cause given. Proximity and tone. Suggestive. After that, he appeared often. Stopped teens at random. Frisked kids without warrants. Searched pockets like it was nothing. 2 other officers, Benton and Ruiz, ran with him. Benton played scout, showed up early, flashlights, claimed bogus calls. Ruiz filed the false reports and made the paperwork clean. Mariah documented everything. Videos, sound clips, written logs. But something shifted. She was being watched by cops. One day, a cruiser sat parked across the street. No call, no dispatch, just idle. Another day, her trash was dumped, only hers. They were testing her. But Renshaw would soon hand her something bigger, something explosive. Because Renshaw wasn't just crooked, he was arrogant. And arrogant men always make mistakes. It started with a knock, soft, deliberate. At 10:46 p.m., Mariah had already turned off the lights. She stood perfectly still beside the window, peeking through the blinds. A police cruiser sat outside. No flashing lights, no spotlight, just parked there like it belonged. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. Then came the second knock. Raina Lawson, a voice called out. "Fresno PD, need a word." Mariah stayed silent. A third knock, louder, harder, then footsteps, slow and unhurried, faded into the night. She didn't exhale until she heard the cruiser pull away. The next morning, it happened again. She was walking home from the bus stop, arms full with 2 grocery bags, when the same cruiser eased up beside her. The window rolled down. Officer Renshaw leaned out, casual, like they were neighbors. "Raina," he said, like it was nothing. "Settling in all right." She didn't respond. He smirked. "You always walk that slow, or just when someone's watching." She looked him square in the eye. "Is there a reason you're speaking to me, officer?" He chuckled. "You seem familiar. I never forget a face." Mariah forced a tight smile. "Maybe from the store. I buy a lot of cereal." He nodded, but his eyes drifted down, scanning her hands. "You always record your shopping trips." She froze. Just a flicker, but it was enough. He saw it. His smile widened. He tapped the roof of his cruiser and drove off. That night, she found a clean, horizontal crack in the back window of her apartment. No signs of forced entry. No robbery. Just a message. We can get in if we want to. She didn't report it. She just sat in the kitchen, lights off, listening. Every passing car, every creak in the ceiling, every set of footsteps. She wasn't afraid. She was calculating. Because the moment she showed fear, she lost control. 2 nights later, it escalated. Her cousin, real name Devin, was posing as a troubled teen. He went to the corner store for a drink. When he came back, his lip was bloody, his eyes wide. "They grabbed me," he said, breath ragged. 2 of them. No badges. No names. Mariah kept her voice steady. "What did they say?" "One of them told me, 'Tell your aunt to stop being curious.' Then they dumped me near the park." Mariah clenched her jaw. They weren't just watching her. They were tracking her entire life. She filed a coded report that night. Compromise suspected. Subject Renshaw may be aware of surveillance. Intimidation tactics escalating. Recommend review. Her handler replied within the hour. Continue operation. Do not abort. You're close. We're watching. 2. It gave her a sliver of calm. But things had changed. This wasn't just about catching a crooked cop anymore. This was a psychological war. 1 week later, he came back. No knock this time. Just footsteps on her porch. She opened the door before he could reach for it. "Morning," Renshaw said, chewing on a toothpick. "You lost?" she asked flatly. "Nah, just checking in. Trash day came and went. Figured maybe you needed help." "I'm good." "You sure?" he said, peeking into the living room. "You seem a little tense." She stepped outside, shutting the door behind her. "Officer, unless you're here with a report or warrant, this conversation is over." He held her gaze for a long second. Then the smile dropped. "Be careful who you talk to," he said quietly. "You might say something you can't take back." Mariah didn't flinch. She stepped back inside and locked the door. That night, she sat at the kitchen table, her sidearm loaded in front of her. Not because she planned to use it, because it reminded her who she still was. Not a scared woman hiding behind curtains. A federal agent, still in control. But Renshaw wasn't done. Fresno's air turned cold in late October. Mariah barely noticed. She wasn't sleeping. Every shadow in the alley looked like a man. Every set of headlights made her reach for her weapon. The tension broke on a Friday. She had just left the community center where she volunteered, part of her cover. A boy named Andre had asked if he could help his mom with job applications next week. Mariah had smiled and said yes. Her voice cracked when she did. She was getting attached. Too attached. On the walk home, she spotted a figure leaning against a payphone. Deshaun Wynn, the same dealer she'd seen pay Renshaw. He looked at her, really looked, and nodded. That night, her burner phone rang. Unlisted number. She didn't answer. It rang again. Same number. This time, she picked up, but said nothing. A gravelly voice, no accent, spoke through static. "We know who you are." Then silence. No threat. No name. Just that. She turned the phone off. In her bedroom closet, behind a stack of towels, she opened the black case, her real badge, backup weapon, and a data stick with every report she'd filed. She stared at it. Maybe it was time to pull out. But her handler's words echoed. "You're close. We're watching too." She wasn't alone. At least, that's what she kept telling herself. That Sunday, she walked to the corner market like usual. The block was quiet. Too quiet. No music. No kids. Just a woman watering plants and a man smoking behind the fence. Inside, she picked up water and bread. The store owner, Mr. Lee, glanced up from the register. "They ask about you," he muttered. "Who?" "Cops. Same one. Big voice. White guy." She nodded slowly. "You in trouble?" he asked. "Not yet," she whispered. That night, she met Devin 3 blocks from their safe house. Hoodie pulled low, duffel bag in hand, extra drives, burners. "They are circling, Ray," he said. "We need an exit." "Not yet," she replied. "I've almost locked down the meeting spot, near the old train station. One more drop and I'll catch the full exchange. Devin shook his head. It's already onto you. You screw up. It's not just a mission. It's your life. I know, she said. But if I walk now, he disappears. Starts over. Cleans house. Devin dropped his voice. You ready to die over this? No, she said. But I'm not ready to let him walk either. They parted quietly. The next day, she wore her MIC, activated 3 hidden cameras near the tracks, and waited. But the drop never happened. Renshaw didn't show. Instead, Benton did, another officer. And this time, he was looking for her. From the alley, she saw him step out of his unmarked cruiser, scanning the area like a predator. No more pretense. Mariah melted into the shadows, heart pounding. She looped around the yard, ducked behind fences, and found her car. She didn't stop driving until she was 6 blocks away. She pulled over, shaking, but not from fear, from holding back. She wanted to scream, I know who you are, but that would end everything. She needed Renshaw, on tape, with evidence. One last move. That night, she lay on the floor, badge case beside her, arms crossed. Not Raina Lawson, not a civilian, but a federal agent, 2 steps from ending a case that had taken nearly a year. It needed to end on her terms. Renshaw wouldn't confess. He needed to be caught doing. So she made the call she'd been saving. The next day, she met Special Agent Corin Vega, DOJ Internal Affairs, no local ties, all business. They met at a rundown car wash on the edge of town. Windows cracked, voices low. Mariah handed over a drive. Everything's on here, she said. Audio, video, threats, all of it. But we still need the product exchange. You sure you're not burned? Vega asked. I'm sure, but he knows I'm watching, which means I need him to think I'm in. You want to bait him? No, Mariah said. I want him to believe he already owns me. They laid out the plan. Vega's team would stay back. Surveillance in 3 vans. Mariah's MIC hot. Her camera glasses linked directly to a mobile command post. All they needed now was bait. 2 nights later, it came. Renshaw texted her from a blocked number. West Side Scrapyard. 11 p.m. Don't bring your cousin. Mariah replied, Fine, just don't waste my time. She wore no wire. She wore 4. The car was empty. No tech. No weapons. Just her. The scrapyard was quiet, metal creaking in the wind. Under a yellowed streetlight, Renshaw waited. He stepped forward. Didn't think you'd come, he said. Mariah stepped out of her car. Didn't think you'd ask. He eyed her. You're not like the others. You don't scare easy. She didn't answer. When I first saw you, he said, head tilted, I thought she's gonna cause problems. Too quiet, too careful. But then I figured maybe you just want in. Mariah narrowed her eyes. In on what? Renshaw stepped closer. I've been running this block for 8 years, Renshaw said coolly. Got deals moving cleaner than the border. You think I don't know who's playing the game? His voice carried weight, the kind that came from too many years of getting away with everything. He reached slowly into his coat and pulled out a thick manila envelope, holding it up like a trophy. Mariah didn't move. What's that? Proof. Insurance, he said. Names of every officer who ever took a cut. Every deal that went down. Including mine. You get in, you stay in. Then he made a sharp slicing motion with his hand. Otherwise, let's just say Fresno ain't safe for women who get too curious. Mariah stepped forward. Slowly. Controlled. Her eyes locked on his. I'm not curious, she said, reaching for the envelope. I'm done guessing. He smirked. That right. She adjusted her glasses. 3 blocks away, Vega gave the signal. It happened fast. No sirens, no shouting. Just headlights sweeping across the yard, car doors opening, boots hitting pavement. Before Renshaw could blink, 6 agents had weapons trained on his chest. 2 tackled him to the ground. Hands behind your back. Now. Renshaw froze. Mariah. His voice cracked. She stepped back, pulled out her badge, and held it up. Special Agent Mariah Tillman, DEA. The look in his eyes wasn't fear or anger. It was disbelief, like the floor had been ripped out from under him, and he hadn't even realized it was a trap all along. He said nothing as the cuffs clicked into place. An agent brought over the envelope, sealed in an evidence bag. "We got enough," he said. Mariah nodded. "It's done." But she didn't quite believe it yet. The courtroom was silent, like the world had flipped inside out. Just minutes earlier, Renshaw had lounged in his chair like a man waiting for a lunch order. Now he sat stiffly, hands clasped tightly in front of him, eyes locked on Mariah with the look of a man trying to solve a puzzle that used to be his life. She stood calmly at the witness stand, unwavering. Judge Kendrick removed his glasses, set them on the bench, and studied her like she had just rewritten a story he thought he already knew. "You're telling this court," he said slowly, "that you've been embedded in a covert DEA investigation for the past 8 months, targeting this department." "Yes, Your Honor." "And your testimony today, was it authorized?" "It was prepared in full coordination with the Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney's Office. All evidence has already been submitted and reviewed." The room shifted. You could feel it. People who once laughed at Renshaw's smug comments now sat frozen. The prosecutor stood and opened the folder. "Agent Tillman, for the record, how many surveillance files are tied to Detective Renshaw?" 92 video files, 74 audio clips, 12 witness statements. "And do those files show him committing criminal acts?" "Yes. Bribery, evidence tampering, illegal searches, use of force, conspiracy to distribute narcotics, and the intimidation of a federal witness, me." Gasps echoed across the room. Someone muttered, "Jesus." The prosecutor turned to the monitor. A grainy video flickered on, Renshaw laughing with a known dealer, slipping something into his coat. Then another, taking cash from a teenager. And another, Renshaw leaning over Mariah on her own porch. You might end up saying something you can't take back. The courtroom didn't move, didn't breathe. The defense attorney stood, pale, shaken. "Your Honor, we object to these videos being shown without." "They've already been vetted," the prosecutor cut in, "by federal investigators in internal affairs." Judge Kendrick raised a hand. "We'll address admissibility later, but I've heard enough for now." He turned to Renshaw. "Detective Renshaw, you are hereby remanded to federal custody pending further investigation. You will be escorted immediately." The bailiff stepped forward, cuffs ready. Renshaw stood, dazed. "You were a plant," he whispered, "all this time." "No," Mariah replied. "I was the accountability you thought would never come." As he was led out, she looked across the room and saw Benton and Ruiz sitting stone-faced in the back. They weren't smirking now. They knew they were next. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed the steps. Cameras clicked, mics pushed forward. Mariah said nothing. She just walked straight to Vega's car and got in. "You good?" Vega asked. "I will be," Mariah said. "But we're not done yet." The precinct was already on lockdown. Hard drives, chat logs, and phone records are being pulled. When the final piece of the puzzle was next. His deal ended today. As the sun bounced off the courthouse steps behind her, Mariah exhaled slowly. This was justice, not the kind that comes clean or easy. This was messy, public, and long overdue. But before she could leave Roosevelt Heights behind, she had one more stop. A week had passed. Time moved differently in the Heights, slower, thicker. The news of Renshaw's arrest spread not through news anchors, but porches and barbershops, whispered from one weary neighbor to another. Mariah came back quietly. No badge, no suit, just jeans, a hoodie, and peace in her steps. She stopped at Mrs. Irene's porch. The old woman fanned herself with a church bulletin. Well, she said. "Look who made it back." Mariah offered a smile. Had to see it through. Word is they finally got that snake in cuffs. "They did." Irene leaned back. "Wasn't sure you'd still be standing." "Me neither." They didn't say much else. They didn't need to. At the community center, Andre sat at a desk helping a younger kid with homework. He looked up in surprise. Miss Rayner. Hey, Andre. They said you left. I did, but I needed to come back for a bit. He looked down. They said the cops were watching you. They were, but not anymore.